I went and got my mammogram at Breastscreen ACT in the middle of June. And in fact, it must have been early June, I think, and then got a recall to go in and get a biopsy done. Well, in fact, they said to me, we've noticed some little spots of calcification, which we're not very happy with on your mammogram. We would like to have a closer look using a higher definition mammogram, a 3D tomography mammogram, and then we'll decide from there whether or not we need to biopsy it. So they told me to be prepared to come in for the whole day, and it absolutely was the whole day. So I was sitting there in the waiting room with my laptop, kind of, communicating with patients and doing bookings and that kind of thing, talking to the admin staff, basically doing my work day from the waiting room at the Breastscreen office. So I was in there. I had the 3D tomography mammogram, which was basically the same as having your regular mammogram. And I had a chat to a breast surgeon. I met this lovely breast surgeon that morning who explained to me what they'd found on the original mammogram that made them want to have a closer look. Once they had a better look, then they decided they wanted a biopsy. And that was quite interesting. So what happened was I was called late in the day into this mammography suite where they have the big machine set up, and there were some wonderful dedicated nurses there whose job was primarily to distract me and make sure I was calm and not being too overwhelmed by everything. But it was a long drawn out process. You've basically got your boobs squished in the machine for about 20 or 30 minutes. So I went in there, not being a particularly big woman myself. A lot of what they were squishing between the plates was actually rib cage and chest wall, which is a bit uncomfortable. And then they squished them in there. Well, this one in particular, the right one's the troublemaker. So they squished the breast into the mammography machine, and the whole time my head's kind of crooked back like this, and I'm talking to the lovely distracting nurse on this side whose job it was to tell me jokes and things like that. And basically sort of held in place by this machine while the radiologist sort of fiddled around and put markers on my breast and decided what they were going to do. Then he injected some local anaesthetic into the breast, which was just as well, I can tell you. Because the next thing that happens is they've got a machine that very precisely localises the spot that they want to get a biopsy of. And so the thing comes down like a big hollow needle, and they said, now get ready for this. We're going to say 1, 2, 3, and there's going to be a bang sound. And sure enough, it's like a nail gun going off and gives you a bit of a jolt when the biopsy thing gets fired in. And out of that, they can get a core sample of the tissue to be able to determine actually what's in that part of the breast. So it was all a bit of an experience, but I have to say it, apart from the discomfort of being sort of feeling like your boob was trapped in this machine for half an hour, it actually wasn't as bad as I would have expected at all. I did not, apart from the jolt and the I guess the startleness you get from the loud sound, the vibrations through your body, I didn't really feel any pain at the actual biopsy. And they were very, very, wonderful at their whole process. The Breastscreen nurses were amazing. They have done it hundreds and hundreds of times, and they've got it, really down pat as to how they reassure the patients. So I felt like I was very well taken care of. And then as soon as it was all over, the lady hurried over and, was sort of pressing an ice pack onto my boob. And she actually set the timer for 10 minutes to make sure that she had the ice pack on there for long enough. Took me aside, sort of told me the whole process afterwards that would happen in terms of when the results might be available, how that would be conveyed to me.